Hello and welcome to the Kennedy Shipyard Chronicles. How are you going to start this project now that you have enough room in your garage, you say? Glad you asked. First things first, I have to build the section of deck that the engineering console is going to sit on. That's a footprint of about 11 feet wide by 8 feet deep. Now, my main source of information is going to be the classic that I've been poring over for years. Well, really, decades. The USS Enterprise Bridge Blueprint Set by Michael McMaster from 1976. McMaster was an up-and-comer in the early days of fan publications. He had already released blueprints of the Klingon D-7 battle cruiser the year before in 1975 and would deliver deck plans of the Romulan Bird of Prey cruiser the year after in 1977. These sets of blueprints and dozens more can be found on a great website called Cygnus X1. I'll put a link to it in the description. I can still remember the first day I got these bridge blueprints. It was summertime and I was out of school. Of course, since it was vacation, we had to go and visit relatives that lived about 4 hours away. And I didn't even like this aunt and uncle for reasons I'll keep to myself. But I'd ordered these blueprints weeks ago and was anxiously waiting for the mailman every day, to no avail. Finally, we got on the road to visit these relatives, and about a half hour into the trip, my grandmother pulls out this big envelope and says, "Oh, this arrived a couple of days ago." Well, I was simultaneously annoyed that they'd been kept from me and overjoyed to finally get them. Mostly overjoyed. I devoured these sheets for the next 3.5 hours, and the whole 4 days we were there. I didn't find out until many years later that poor Mike McMaster died in some kind of an auto accident just a couple of years later. He was only 25. Such a shame. He did a tremendous job with what he had available. Remember, back then, no internet, no social media at all, no Blu-ray players with an HD TV to make a freeze frame on, and even videotape, VCRs, was for very well-to-do people at that time. So I suspect that he just took photos of his TV screen, had them developed and blown up so he could make comparative measurements. Anyway, those authoritative blueprints showed the bridge divided into 10 equal wedges of 36 degrees. Simple, right? Of course not. As you see, according to actual Desilu blueprints, each wedge came out to approximately 35.5 degrees, with the forward screen coming out at 40.5 degrees. This helps give the forward view that iconic big screen look. So did I try to make my deck 35.5 degrees? No. I found a video showing the construction of the Star Trek Continues bridge. This shot here gave me a hint on where to start, and it's worth a watch, or in my case, a couple of dozen. So I started with the radial spokes of one side, then added support so that the 3/4 inch deck wouldn't sag or squeak when walked on. And in order to move it around, I put a total of 9 caster wheels around the perimeter and up the center. There isn't much clearance between the floor and the 2x6s, but that just helps the illusion. The 6 wheels toward the center are inaccessible after the decking is on, but the back 3 are able to be locked to keep the whole thing from rolling around. Don't worry, little chair. There'll be a console in front of you soon. Be patient. I won't add carpet or the railings on the inside of the circle just yet. There's no sense in messing that up with all the work that needs to be done in the future. So what did you think? Did you enjoy the deeper dive into the blueprint world? Too much? Too little? Just about right? Let me know in the comments. And please, if anybody has a picture of Michael McMaster, point me to it in the comments, because he deserves to have the credit for what he was able to accomplish back then. Next, I'll need to design and cut the profile of the consoles to support everything. Geez, how am I going to do that?